Okay, so I have been so scared to do this video because it is going to force me to do something that I don't usually do, and that is be completely vulnerable, and I don't like that. But this is my story and I'm going to share it with you now. So for the past month, you've been getting to know me, the quirky side of me, all the ups and downs and the funny, dramatic drama queen side of everything. And I love that side of me. But a couple of years ago, 14 years, I think, 15 years this year, something happened that changed my life completely. So it was the 10th of October, 2011. I was 21, and I had just had a meeting with an artist that I had opened for his album launch, because back then I was a singer, a performing artist. Before I was a DJ, I've always been in music in some way or another. And I had a meeting with him in Boksburg, and on my way home I was in a horrific car accident. And when I say horrific, it was pretty damn bad. So on the way home, out of nowhere, I didn't hit anything, I didn't hit anyone. Both of the tires on the right side of my car just blew, and that caused my car to flip and roll across the highway. I was on the N1 going back from Boksburg towards Bedfordview side. So my car flipped and it rolled across the highway. Luckily, again, I didn't hit anybody. And there was a pilot driving behind me, and he gave witness, and he said that out of nowhere smoke just came from my car and he saw it flip and roll. So now my car landed on the other side of the highway, and I was shot through the windscreen, and I landed about 100 meters away from the car. Then when I landed on the left side of my body, and that was awful. So I don't know if I should go into my injuries now or what happened. No, let's go with what happened. So from the accident, they got my phone, someone called paramedics. I think it might have been the pilot that was behind me, and people called paramedics, and the paramedics tried to phone my parents. But now the issue is my parents weren't in the country. They were in England at the time. So eventually they managed to get a hold of my big brother, and he panicked because he didn't know what to do, and he said immediately, just take her to the Union Hospital because that's the one that's closest to him. So they took me to the hospital, and it was a bit of a difficult time getting me into the hospital, because obviously my brother didn't know my medical aid details, my parents weren't around to help with that, and he couldn't get a hold of them. So I was left unattended for quite a while, and I was just strapped to a gurney, kind of left there to do my own thing. But by this point I'd already gone into a coma, so there was quite a lot of trauma that happened. So eventually, long story short, I was admitted to the hospital. I was in a coma for a few days, and then I was in an induced coma by the hospital, because when I kept waking up, the first thing I did was I panicked and I went for the thing around my neck. I didn't know what was going on, and I kept trying to rip the thing off my neck. And they said to my brother that I was going to end up hurting myself or possibly causing myself to become paraplegic if I carried on with this. So therefore they induced my coma. So I don't remember much of that. I don't remember any of that, to be honest. I don't actually remember any of my time in ICU. The first thing I remember was waking up in general ward, and a nurse told me that I was supposed to be dead. And I was like, hey. First off, where am I? And what the hell do you mean I'm supposed to be dead? I don't remember anything happening like that. But let's get into what happened to me. So when I fell, luckily, like I said, I went through the windscreen. You can't see anything. You can't see anything apart from on my back. I have 2 scratches on either side of where I went through the windscreen. Then when I landed on the left side of my body, and that was really bad, really bad. So what happened was my skull broke. It kind of shattered like an egg, so it cracked from the base of my skull all the way through to the bridge of my nose. When this broke, the mastoid bone broke in the skull, and that's the one that houses your facial nerves. So my face went paralyzed on this side, and that's why it still kind of isn't 100% functional. You'll see my eyebrows aren't exactly aligned, because that facial nerve was severely damaged by that. I couldn't say any plosive sounds. I couldn't say B's and P's for about a year. It was Then the crack went through my temple, and that shards of my skull went into my brain. So I've got frontal lobe damage, and then that part of my brain bled into my ear, and I went deaf temporarily on that side until it was drained. Then when it cracked through my nasal passage, the shards of this bone cut completely through my nasal nerves, so I couldn't smell anything. I still can't smell anything, but I'm blessed because apparently it missed my optical nerve, my eyesight, by a couple of millimeters. Then my neck was broken, so C2 was broken, and how your spine goes is you've got C1, C2, C3, blah 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 blah. So C2 is pretty high up there. C2 was completely shattered. I was much taller before this happened. Well, not much taller. I was 4 centimeters taller before the accident. Then C2 completely exploded, and C3 was dislocated. So my spinal cord was sitting like this between the two. And they say that the shards of my spine, C2, that was destroyed, when that exploded in my neck, it missed my spinal cord by 0.8 of a millimeter. So that would have made me a complete quadriplegic. And for the first while, it was very touch and go. They didn't know if I was going to make it. So my brothers had to make a very difficult phone call to our parents, and they basically just said, you guys need to get home now, because there's a 50-50 chance of whether she's going to wake up or not. So my parents rushed home from England. My mom has said that was the hardest flight she has ever taken in her life, and I can only imagine, because you're suspended in air for 8 hours, you can't get any kind of communication, you don't know what's going on with your child. And my big brother fetched them from the airport, and apparently when he collected them from the pickup points, he just burst into tears because he didn't know how to cope with what was going on. So this was a very difficult time for my family, obviously, but the most incredible thing happened, because for some random fluke chance, my other brother Brian was here as well, because he'd already moved to White River by that point, but he was up for a conference. And the thing is, when Brian was here, he wasn't able to see me in the hospital. He was struggling, but he could talk to our family, so he could make all the phone calls and everything like that. And my big brother could see me, but he couldn't talk to our family. So they kind of just worked together like a cool little unit. And that's really incredible that happened. So basically the recovery process was awful. They still didn't know if I was going to be paralyzed, because obviously the way my spinal cord was sitting, anything could have happened at any point. So it was a very touch and go time, and I was in hospital for quite a while. I think I was in hospital for about a month, because this happened in October. Then I was released. No, I was in hospital for about 2 months. Then I was released, and then I went for a checkup with my doctor, because they couldn't operate on me immediately because I was too touch and go and serious. And then I stabilized and they thought that everything was cool. So they released me, then I went home and I came back for a checkup, and my doctor said, we need to operate immediately because your dislocated vertebra is still shifting. And if we don't, you're basically going to become paralyzed over time. That's a given. So he gave me 2 options for the operation. And I had the choice of them going through the back of my neck, which was a much more stable procedure. But the issue with that was if I did go through the back of my neck, I wouldn't be able to move it anymore. So if I ever wanted to drive again, that would be game over basically, you know. And the second option that they gave me was to go through the front of my neck. But now the doctor did tell me, listen, if you go that way, there's a 90% chance of you becoming a quadriplegic, and there's a 50% chance of you dying on the table. But you know, I was 21, I was young, I'd already gone through this, so I was like, well, hell, you know, let's just do it. Let's go through the front, no questions asked. So he did. Dr. Vibo van den Beerden, he was wonderful. And I remember clearly, he was a very prim and proper doctor, you know, straight and down the line and serious and all of this. And I remember I woke up from the surgery and he looked at me and he was like, can you wiggle your toes? So I'm like groggy still, so I was like, I don't know. So let me try. So I tried to wiggle and he saw the bed moving and he just goes, yes! So that was very lovely to see that side of him. But in the same right, I was like, bruh, your lack of faith in yourself is a bit alarming. But all in all, it was a very, very harrowing experience for me. I still cannot stand hospitals to this day. I get very freaked out if I have to go to them, like as a patient. I can go visit people in hospital, but it freaks me out to be admitted. I hate needles now as a result, because one of the things with me is my veins are incredibly small, so they struggle to find veins to put drips in or take blood or anything like that. So when they, obviously for the first while, I had to be fed via intravenous and just be on a drip basically my whole time in hospital. And the nurses struggled to find these veins, to the point where one day one nurse dug in this vein, couldn't find anything, dug in my hand, couldn't find anything, dug here, couldn't find anything, and eventually she found a vein here. And that was it for me. I was just like, this is horrific, I hate this. So that happened. Then basically I went through a long process of learning to walk again, learning to use this side of my face again. And it was a long recovery process. As a result, now, like I said, I still can't smell physically, and I'm not allowed to play any contact sports, so no rugby for me. I also need to be really careful of whiplash and being bumped and all of that, because I could re-break my neck at any point, and nobody wants that. That's not a fun time, I don't think. Okay, if the angle's changed or you can't see me, then I am very sorry, but you know, I had to clear storage on the phone and pick up my emotional support boys, because they knew mommy wasn't great. But yes, so anyways, I changed a lot from the accident, because before it happened, I was the kind of person that would always be down for the party, you know, so you could phone me and I'd be like, yeah, I'm there. And afterwards, I was terrified. I was so scared to do anything. I felt like a fragile little bird, you know, that if you just looked at me funny, I would shatter. So it took me a really, really long time to work through that and get over it. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I'm still working through it. The confidence was shattered. You know, imagine being a 21-year-old girl and your face is taken away from you. I know, looking back at it, it could have been a lot worse, but it really did. That's my struggle, and that's real for me, and I really did battle with that. I still battle with it. I battle the most to this day with the fact that I can't smell. That makes me feel very self-conscious because I don't know if my house smells nice, if I smell nice, what's going on, you know. So it's been a long time recovering from everything. My family still doesn't really talk about what happened. They battle, which is completely understandable because who wants to see someone you love going through something like that? But something really incredible did happen. So after the accident, when I was all healed and everything, I decided, okay, cool, I'm going to get a tattoo on my neck for this. So I decided to get Psalm 23. And my mom said to me, why are you choosing that psalm? And you know, what does it mean to you? So I said to her, I was like, I'm choosing it for the passage in the psalm that says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. This is driving me bananas. It's like my phone doesn't want me to tell my story. But anyway, so I got the passage, obviously, that's for this reason of it saying, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And after the accident, my mom asked me, why did I choose that? So after that happened, my mom decided to tell me that, did I know that when I was in the coma, my brother Brian read that verse to me every single day. And I had no idea. So that just kind of goes to show that you can hear, you are still there when you are in a coma. Because I heard Brian loud and clear, and now I've got it tattooed on me. So that's fun and games. But yeah, it was a long journey for me to get over that. It was very difficult. It's been very difficult on my family, and it puts a person through their paces. And oh, let me just tell you this part. So obviously a lot of people ask me now, because I can't smell, can I still taste? And that took a while to come back, let me tell you. So after the accident for about 6 months, I couldn't taste anything. And you try eating food when you can't taste it. It's like, it's weird. It's just texture. And it's like pasta. It's a weird experience. So I lost a lot of weight from that, because basically I wound up surviving on soup, because I was like, what the hell is the point of eating when it's just like squish, squish, squish? It was not fun. But now that I'm here and I'm functional, I intend to live every day as best that I can and do things that bring me joy, even though they scare the hell out of me like this. And I just thought it was really important for me to tell this story, because it's mine. It's mine to tell, and it's something that really happened that affected me very badly. And that's why the drift car was such a monumental thing for me last week, because I never thought in a million years you'd get me in a car like that. And it was terrifying. I will show you some of the footage of me in the car, but it was very harrowing for me. But I was so proud of myself for doing that, because I took back my narrative. I took back the power, and I'm really, really glad that I did. So that's my story. This is the one about me. Obviously there's a lot more to me. This wasn't the one monumental defining moment of my life. There's a lot more that's gone into the creation of what this is. So if you want to get to know me more, hang around, hit the subscribe button, maybe give this video a like, because it was really, really terrifying for me to do. Come here, you Nunu, don't sit there. And yeah, just get to know me on a week-to-week basis. You can see me training for my High Rocks race coming up. I'll take you along all of my DJ things, and yeah, watch me take back my life one day at a time.